Today, I want to discuss the attempt on Pete Chiodo's sister, arguably one of the most disgraceful acts the Lucchese family committed. As far as families go, it's always been known that families are off limits. In order to speak about what took place with Chiodo's sister, we need to go back to the attempt on Chiodo first. During the 1980s, the New York City Housing Authority ordered the replacement windows in every housing project in the city. The mob took this as an opportunity to earn millions, and Pete Chiodo became the Lucchese's point man in the window scheme. By 1989, Genevieve's associate and the originator of the window scheme, Pete Savino, began cooperating with the government. As a result, the mob was on high alert and extremely paranoid of potential informants. Consequently, Lucchese bosses Vic Amuso and Gaspipe Casso ordered the murder of construction union official John Sonny Morrissey. They suspected Morrissey of cooperating with law enforcement. Gaspipe told Chiodo, Sonny Morrissey needs to be taken care of. So on September 17, 1989, Chiodo lured Morrissey to a secluded area in Jefferson Township, New Jersey, which was the location of a construction site. Morrissey was shot and killed and buried at that location. In the meantime, the government was preparing to indict all the bosses involved in the window scheme, including Vic and Gas, and they became aware of this through Gaspipe's crooked detectives. So in early 1990, the Lucchese bosses went on a lam. The indictments came down in May of 1990, which included Vic, Gas, and Chiodo. Chiodo was indicted again on state charges involving corruption of a painters union. Going on the advice of his lawyer, Chiodo pled guilty to the federal indictment, but made the mistake of not asking for permission first. Chiodo, being a seasoned street guy, sensed that something was up. He even made a prediction to Al Diaco, who at the time was the family's acting boss, and told him, you and I are going to be killed or hurt. These guys have a habit of marking guys as rats and killing them. His prediction came true because Al Diaco received an order from Gaspipe to kill Chiodo, who they suspected of cooperating. As a preventive measure, Chiodo was planning on getting out of Staten Island and New York for that matter. He wanted to keep away until it was time to be sentenced. In the early morning hours of May 8, 1991, the day Chiodo was planning his road trip, he wanted to have his engine checked at a local gas station. He arrived at the gas station, popped his hood, and was standing next to his car when a dark-colored sedan pulled up. Two shooters, part of a Lucchese hit team, jumped out and began shooting at him. Chiodo was hit 12 times in his arms, legs, stomach, chest, and neck. What saved him was his 400-pound frame, plus the fact that he fired back at the shooters. What most people are not aware of is that prior to being shot, the FBI approached Chiodo several times, and he refused to cooperate with them. It was only after being shot that he decided to cooperate. Chiodo's first appearance as a government witness was at the Windows trial, and he did so from a wheelchair with his arm in a sling and his leg in a cast. He was also expected to testify at several upcoming trials, including one for Vic Amuso, who was captured in Scranton, Pennsylvania on July 29, 1991. The Lucchese bosses were desperate to prevent Chiodo from testifying. The first plan of action was when Lucchese Captain, Richie Pagliarulo, who actually took over Chiodo's crew, took an associate with him and went to see Chiodo's defense lawyer. They warned the lawyer that if Chiodo testified, his wife would be killed. Next, they went to go see Chiodo's father and told him that his whole family would be killed if his son testified. As a result, most of Chiodo's family was placed in the witness protection program and relocated. His sister was offered the opportunity, but she declined. Her husband was told that he had to leave his warehouse job that his brother-in-law got for him. Apparently, the Luccheses were targeting Chiodo's whole family. As Chiodo appeared at these trials, the Luccheses sent people into the courtrooms to listen to what he was testifying to. As 1992 rolled around, Vic Amuso's case had a date on the court's calendar, and Chiodo was scheduled to appear as a government witness. The order came down to stop Chiodo at all costs. So Pagliarulo had associate Michael Spinelli find out Chiodo's sister's address and her description. Spinelli told fellow crew member Dino Basciano to expect to be called on to kill someone. Basciano later learned from Pagliarulo that Chiodo's sister, Patricia Capozzalo, was the target and that the hit was approved by Vic. Pagliarulo placed Spinelli in charge of putting the hit team together. Keep in mind, Spinelli was a former associate of Chiodo and part of his crew. He assembled the hit team, which included himself and consisted of his brother Robert, Gino Basciano, Jody Calabrese, and Gregory Capello. Calabrese and Capello were inducted members since 1991. The hit team made 2 failed attempts on Capozzalo and called them both off due to witnesses being in the area. They set out for their 3rd and final attempt on March 10, 1992. Spinelli was driving a van, Capello and Calabrese were in a crash car, and Robert Spinelli was in a switch car, which was a 1991 black Plymouth minivan that was stolen from Borough Park, Brooklyn. The hit team all had walkie-talkies and wore ski masks and had guns. Patricia Capozzalo's morning started off by dropping off her son and some of his friends at school. She returned home to 1762 West 7th Street in Gravesend, Brooklyn, and parked across the street from her house. A gray 1985 Cutlass Supreme pulled alongside her, and Basciano jumped out, walked over to the driver's side of her car, and fired 2 shots through her window. His gun was equipped with a silencer, which broke apart after he fired. Nonetheless, he fired a few more shots just for good measure. Capozzalo reacted quickly and tried ducking onto her dashboard while she screamed. Despite being hit in her neck and back, she managed to get out of her car and make it to her house, where her husband called 911. And like her brother, she survived her injuries and was released from the hospital after a few days. Naturally, the shooting of a government witness's sister became a top priority for law enforcement, especially since the following year, on February 2nd, 1993, the police found the frozen body of Frank Signorino, Chiodo's uncle, in the trunk of a car in East New York, Brooklyn. Consequently, there were several indictments and arrests. During this time, Lucchese indictments were dropping consistently, not only in regard to the Capozzalo shooting, but for the numerous crimes committed by family members and associates. In 1998, the Spinelli brothers went on trial together. Gregory Capello had died in prison the year before. Jody Calabrese was tried and convicted at a separate trial and sentenced to 10 years. Dino Basciano began cooperating with the government in 1995 and was a government witness at the Spinelli brothers' trial. Basciano explained to the jury how the entire plot on Capozzalo took place, as well as him being the shooter. Please remember to hit the like icon and like this video if you haven't already. I also want to mention the super thanks icon found in the 3-dot dropdown for anyone who'd like to show appreciation for this video. Former Lucchese member Frankie Gioia also testified as a government witness. He claimed that while the Spinelli brothers were incarcerated with him on an unrelated case, Michael Spinelli told him the details of the Capozzalo hit. He also said that Spinelli complained to him that despite carrying out the ordered hit, the Lucchese family never inducted him. It's not far-fetched to say that Gioia repeated the conversation, which reached the ears of the Lucchese family, who at the time was being run by a ruling panel. A message was sent to Spinelli from the street that the Lucchese family had every intention of inducting him and that they were also going to pay for his legal fees. The consensus must have been, let's keep this guy happy before he flips. In and around late 2014, early 2015, I was up in the Bronx at the Lucchese Social Club, and I happened to be sitting next to Joe DiNapoli, who was the consigliere at the time. I was explaining to him that the Colombos had just straightened out Vito Guzzo in the bathroom of Danbury Federal Prison. And Joe turned to me and said, first of all, we don't do that. Going to some bathroom for something like that is an insult to this whole thing. Only time that happened is with Gas. He did it on his own in MCC. What Joe was referring to was Gaspipe, who was captured in January 1993, was incarcerated with Michael Spinelli at the MCC in Manhattan and held a ceremony in the bathroom and inducted Spinelli. Robert Spinelli was sentenced to 10 years. Michael Spinelli received 235 months, which ran consecutive with a 22-year sentence he was already serving. But over and above that, he was sentenced to the Lucchese family, a family known to falsely accuse its members.